Hi, greetings. My name is Arshay, and thank you for listening. And this is I Said What I Said. Yes, guys, I'm here today, and I'm coming here to document what, to me, I feel very passionate about, which is asylum seekers. Okay, we're gonna cut through all of the myths, and all the statistical stuff, and all the good stuff that's told us by the media and by our politicians. I do want to make a disclaimer before I start. Am I against UK? As I'm from the UK, am I against asylum seeking? On the face of it, no. I think on the face of it, I think it does what it has to do. We're supposed to help and support around the world, taking in a proportion of people who are facing persecution, war, etc., etc., etc. I think, there is a degree of, I think around the world of how it's been done is we're taking a portion of people to try and offer them support and help. Okay. As for my own background, to be honest, I would class myself as Black British. I am I'd say the product or the daughter from a generation of working migrants, working migrants I think my dad came over in the 50s, my mum in the 60s, with, mother's parents, they worked, they owned their own houses, stuff like that. So, definitely, I am definitely a product who has benefited from immigration. So I'm not biased or racist towards asylum seekers. Okay. The problem I have with asylum seekers is how it's been implemented and how easy it is for them to gain UK status. Okay. I know in my mother's and father's generation, I think it was probably, I don't know, I'm not too sure, but I think on the surface of it, it was, to be honest, there were lots more checks. There were a lot more checks and ticks, check boxes and things and terms and things that had to be met. I mean, look at the Windrush generation. There are people that didn't follow certain procedures, or their parents didn't make certain declarations, and they've been deported, even as of 2024. And you've been hearing in the news and in the media that there are Jamaicans, whoever, in their 70s and 80s or 50s or even younger, who have been deported. Right. So on that basis, I can say that it's a subject that I feel I'm qualified enough to identify with. Okay. Now, my problem with these refugee asylum seekers, and remember, it's not always the only people who are from East Africa. Some of them come from Europe, Albania, Kosovo. They come from different areas. I can only speak really on the ones that I've had the interactions with. I can't speak on everyone. And I truly believe there are people who came here for genuine reasons and have genuine problems. But I feel there is an underbelly, and there is a fraction and a percentage of them that didn't actually come here. They piggyback was riding off the problem. And I think there are a lot of, sadly, because I don't think a lot of background checks are made on these people from their home countries enough. I think it's been, sadly, a backdoor for a lot of criminals and gangs and people who come to this country that don't have our best interests or don't give a damn about us or our customs or our laws. They're just doing enough so they can survive the 5-year probation period. It's really shocking and scary how easy it is to gain asylum. Okay. So the first thing, as a refugee, you come over here, and obviously, you're taken into an interview, and you're in that interview now, and you explain your story, your background, what country you've come from, why you come here, da 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 da. Okay. So then, if you're successful at round one, they will give you a 5-year probationary stay within the UK. Now, this is happening in the States and all in France and all other countries, but I can only talk about UK law. Okay. So based on UK law, what I've found out is that, you get that 5 years. And then after that 5 years, apparently then you're given indefinite leave and stay into the country. You see, this is now where that's the kicker. I was actually, my jaw dropped to the floor when I heard that. I said, how long? 5 years? Is that all? So in 5 years, as long as you've played the game and you've kept your head down and you've survived off that £49.86 per week, or apparently that's what you get. I don't know if that's what you get during the first 6 months when you arrive, because I'm sure, I don't know whether that's for the 5 years or the first 6 months, because there's within the first 6 months you're giving your first interview. So I'm not sure if you're surviving off that how much is it, £49.86 a week, or is it during the 5 years while you're on probation status? Are you then accessing full benefits and housing, etc., etc.? I don't know. I'm not too sure. If anybody wants to come into the comments section, I've just studied the basics around the subject. Okay. So anyway, so my problem is, so after 5 years, not really knowing much about these people, in my opinion, and are you even monitoring? See, this is the problem as well. During these 5-year period, are you truly, and I'm talking to the police and the intelligence services, are you really studying what these people are really doing? Because post 9/11, we're all watching for people strapped with bombs, or people, commercial airlines and all of it. Are you actually paying attention to what they're doing on the grassroots? Because a lot of their antisocial behaviour things have been done behind closed doors. These people are very well organised, and they're very smart, and they're very, very clever. They operate between the grey lines. Now, I went to the police station today because I've got issues with these people, with some neighbours that are, I don't know what stage their status is. I don't know whether they've got indefinite leave and they're just showing their behinds and showing off, or I don't know. But it will be looked into. I was given by the police. Anyway, so I'm having issues with them, and I'm just thinking to myself, well, imagine if they've got indefinite leave and now they're here and they're doing whatever it is they're doing. Okay, so I'm a person, I'm about a solution to the problem. They'll say, okay, then what would you do if you were a politician? This is what I would do personally. Okay, the first thing is I will scrap the 5-year rule. I will make sure that it's I would say maybe make sure it's at least 10 years. 10 years, and but there has to be 2 other stipulations that have to be clearly and very carefully adhered to. And if you can't meet these other 2 conditions, you will be sent home. Deport, back, return to sender, go back to where you came. Okay? Because at this point, we have enough immigration, I personally feel. Why? Because we've got 15-year housing waiting lists. We've got burdens on the NHS. We've got all of it. And it's not propaganda. It's facts. You can't spit facts and then call it propaganda. Make up your mind. Okay. I know personally, when I was living in Birmingham for about 6 years, 5 or 6 years, I was made homeless during the lockdown because of a Somalian family who lived in the flat above, who had 2 bedrooms, wanted my larger 2-bedroom, because my larger 2-bedroom had a much, much larger second bedroom. okay, for my son. So I think there was a scenario, there's something happened, and I let this lady in because there was a leak. So, and their bathroom was above my son's bedroom. So as soon as she came in and, had a general look at my property, she was obviously enamored. I didn't catch that. It was only until they started with all the banging of the doors, the noise, the dropping of the toys, day and night, screeching of chairs on the floor, all of this stuff. I eventually, cut a long story short, after telling them to please be quiet and reporting it to the housing department, I found out that they wanted my property. Oh, can you swap? I said no. So they would just go back to making more and more and more noise. So then, I say all of this to say this, is that these type of tactics are not becoming of being a UK citizen. You can't come here. We've already given you free housing, free food, free NHS, free schools for your kids, okay? But you're not satisfied. Now you're dissatisfied, and now you feel now entitled. Now you feel entitled. Okay, I want your property. I want your this. No, you were given what you were given. If you want a bigger property, then go and buy one. Oh, we don't have the money. Then go and work. Work long enough and hard enough. Okay? Go and work long enough and hard enough, like any other person, and go and buy. Okay? So they're doing all of these nefarious things, and it makes me wonder, well, what other kind of criminal activities and things are they up to? Because it's not always, like I said, don't be looking for the person with a bomb strapped to their chest, or that's hell-bent on doing big, major things. Sometimes this thing, maybe the climate, I mean, we're talking the last 24 years, the climate has changed. Or 23 years, 2001. The climate maybe's changed a little. The types of crimes, the types of things that they're doing, how they're doing it. I hope the police and people are listening to this broadcast. This is constructive criticism. Okay? So it's like, what are they really doing? Because I've noticed a lot of the times they keep to themselves. It doesn't matter whether you're from Albania or Somalia. It doesn't matter. Okay, they generally keep themselves to themselves. They seem to have multiple families living in one dwelling, so they pull all their resources in. Fair enough. So they're doing all of these things, and it's like, you've let them into the country, and because they keep themselves to themselves, and they generally stay away from the community, the British community, it's like, in my opinion, I really personally think they're flying under the radar. And I really think that it's part of their whole agenda is to, let's just keep our heads down, let's keep ourselves to ourselves. We don't mix with the Gentiles or the people outside. And, we do whatever we do. Yes, we will harass them in their homes and do all sorts of other stuff. But, generally we'll do certain things, but we'll make sure that we only do just enough criminality just to dodge the police. Just enough so we don't go on the police radar, or we'll make them look crazy. We'll make them look crazy. We'll make them look a bit, You see, the way I've dealt with my problems with these people, I haven't inflamed the issue. I haven't had fighting or screaming matches, or I haven't started banging my doors, etc. I mean, to be honest, I did at first. I won't lie. Probably for the first 2 weeks, I went on a rampage, and they were just to give them the shock value that, you're not the only one that can do this. But I quickly realized that wasn't the way to go. And to be honest, don't stoop to their level. So anyway, I said all of that. That would personally, the first thing is, like I said, okay, scrap the 5 years, extend it out to 10 years. And you got to make sure, I'll recap, you get a 10-year probation period, 10 years. After the 10-year probationary period, you have to demonstrate two things: that you're able to support yourselves, okay? Meaning you're paying your own way. You've had to have either bought a home, you're working, you're not reliant upon any state assistance. The final condition is that you haven't been subject to any evictions, restrictions, crimes. We're not just talking fines, because, hey, shit. I mean, we're talking, quite, things that are not within, the British interest of the British citizens. So if you can survive and you've done all of that right, then, boom, stamp their visas, give them their indefinite stay. And even after 10 years, it's indefinite, but hey, I'll still write a clause in there. If you mess up, if you still mess up in 15 or 20 years, we won't hesitate to deport you. We just, at this point, would like to welcome you as a citizen. But hey, if at any point we think you're a threat to us or a nuisance, we can still got the laws and the powers to quickly, through, no fault, remove you from the country, like a no fault section 21, no fault eviction. We can fast track it. So that's, to me, how immigration should be going, because the way it's going at the moment, unfortunately, we've got 15-year social housing lists between the periods of 5 and 15 years across the country. There are people, British citizens, who who basically have got no hope of getting on the social register. The houses in London and the prices and it's astronomical. Okay, it's astronomical. It's not even an option. So you've got the choice of being homeless, or you can go into private accommodation, which is basically unaffordable. And so if you're telling me, if we're having 15-year waiting lists, and then you're having problems with NHS waiting lists, services, and so if you're having all these problems, you've already admitted there's an issue. So if there's an issue, then unfortunately we can no longer take any more in. And the ones we are taking in, we have to be more selective. It's not about quantity, it's about the quality. What is the quality of immigrants are we coming in? You should be having those coming in that have got, what have they got to offer? Is it just because they're able to help boost the population through having children? Because I know there are countries that are paying people to come to, there are people, apparently you can go to certain countries that will actually pay you there if you're childbearing age to, they will pay you, to stay there, or as long as, you come there and have children. I understand all of that. I don't know whether that's the policy here in the UK. I very much doubt that. But I mean, unless you've got that type of policy in play, then, it's too much. You can't keep, I'm telling you, please, it's enough. Close the borders and start to filter out, and like I say, pay very, very close attention to what's going on. Because it's only until I personally think there's something brewing over the next decade. It's not going to be good. That's all I'm going to say, really. Like I said, the landscape has changed. We're not just looking for people with bombs strapped to their chest, per se, or whatever. It's not obvious. That's all I'm going to say. It's not obvious anymore. It's very covert. Very, very covert. What you're going to find is the British governments and police and all of these people won't start taking this, what I'm saying, seriously, probably, until the time that they're in the suburbs. So they're in the suburbs now, Okay, and they're living in the residential areas, the desirable areas, the areas where you feel, but I'm talking predominantly to the white Caucasian society for the most part. Okay, so now they're living in neighborhoods and areas that, where you didn't have many, people, minorities living. So now when they show up on your doorstep and they're living in your suburbs, and that's when you'll all start saying, well, hold on a minute, what's going on? And now they're coming with their antisocial behaviour, and now you're living next door to somebody who's banging their doors at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, at 5 o'clock in the morning, and doing all sorts of weird stuff. That's now when you'll start taking it seriously. But by that point, my friends, it will be too late. Shit's hit the fan. Now when they feel comfortable enough and there's enough of them, who knows what may happen. I mean, there's actually an element of these people who are targeting their own people. Now you can imagine there was an Eritrean, is it Eritrean family who were bullying a Somalian family beneath them in where I currently live. So that goes to tell you that, they can bully their own people. Maybe they're from different tribes or different rankings. I don't know or what the hell it was, but they're not shy. They can actually do it to their people from their own types of culture. I mean, you're dealing with Eritreans and the Somalis. They're two different peoples. So I guess that could have been the thing. But then there's the family that I'm dealing with that are a complete nuisance. They are very friendly with their own Somalian neighbours across the hallway. So it may be just on a case-by-case basis. So, I've personally, like I said, I've had problems, and I'm looking at the whole situation. I'm learning they only need 5 years to stay here before now. So I'm just hoping that the lawmakers can listen. And people need to come forward. I would love anybody to give their own accounts and experiences in this field and subject. How, what are you guys dealing with? Are you dealing with the same type of problems and restrictions? Or, I don't think I would have said it was isolated if it was only happened in the West Midlands. But the fact that I'm in London I knew someone, I knew somebody from Birmingham that was suffering the same problem. I've spoken to a couple of people that have, when I mentioned the subject, they roll their eyes and like, yeah. I've even had family told me that, one of my sisters told me that one of her friends told her that there was a, somebody of refugee status living in a flat across, and every time, she would see this particular person, she would slam her door and she would be slamming her doors. It's happening. I think, like I said, the statistics are not being gathered enough. But I just really think that whatever it is I'm saying and it's not good. And I really think by the time it starts getting traction, it'll probably be too late. You don't know what mindset these people have and what they're planning on doing. And I really think they're using genuine people, and they're hiding behind the genuine ones. And so that's really all I have to say. I'm really just putting out awareness. So if you are dealing with this type of problem, don't think you're going crazy. Don't go. The only thing I would say to you is don't argue with these people if you can. Report it to the police. Keep records of what's going on and report it to your local council. Even if you report it to your private landlords, chances are he or she doesn't want to know because they don't care. They're more than happy to take them in. I would say definitely speak to your local council. Just bring awareness. But the actual solution, I've given you the solution. I just don't know if anyone has got the stomach to actually do what's necessary. But until the next one, guys, take care. Thank you.